My daughter's teacher made her stand in the hallway during every fun activity. I made sure she stood in the unemployment line. My daughter Rose was so excited to start second grade because she'd gotten Mrs. Walker, who everyone said was the fun teacher who did science experiments and let kids have dance parties on Fridays. For the first week, Rose came home bouncing off the walls about how cool school was and how Mrs. Walker was the best teacher ever. She talked nonstop about the class pet hamster and how they were going to do a play about the solar system. I was thrilled because Rose had been shy in first grade and finally seemed to be coming out of her shell. Then something changed in week 2. Rose stopped talking about the fun activities, but her classmates' moms kept posting photos of their kids doing cool stuff like making volcanoes and having pajama story time. When I asked Rose about it, she'd just say she didn't get to participate. I figured maybe she was exaggerating or had been misbehaving, so I emailed Mrs. Walker asking if everything was okay. She replied that Rose was doing fine academically, but needed to learn patience and discipline. That seemed weird, but teachers know best, right? About a month into school, I ran into another mom at the grocery store who mentioned how sweet Rose was for always helping Mrs. Walker organize supplies during Fun Friday. I had no idea what she was talking about. Rose had told me she just did worksheets on Fridays. That night, I pressed Rose for details, and she finally broke down crying. Mrs. Walker had been making her stand in the hallway or organize the supply closet during every single fun activity for 3 weeks. Every science experiment, every dance party, every special story time. Rose was excluded. The reason? On the 3rd day of school, Rose had corrected Mrs. Walker when she said that spiders were insects. Rose knew they were arachnids because we'd been reading nature books all summer. Mrs. Walker had gotten red in the face and told Rose that smart-mouthed children didn't deserve fun privileges. Since then, she'd been systematically excluding my 7-year-old from anything enjoyable, while making her do busy work instead. I was beyond furious, but knew I had to be strategic. Complaining to the principal would just be my word against a veteran teacher's, and Mrs. Walker would probably just get sneakier about her punishment. So I started volunteering as a classroom helper every week. Mrs. Walker couldn't exactly ban a parent volunteer, and she had to let Rose participate when I was there watching. But I wasn't just there to protect Lily. I was there to observe everything. I noticed Mrs. Walker had some interesting habits. She'd leave the classroom during lunch to make personal calls, leaving the aide alone with 30 kids. She was supposed to be teaching math from 2 to 3, but instead put on educational videos while she did online shopping on her computer. She also had a side business selling essential oils, and was constantly trying to recruit other teachers during school hours. I started documenting everything in a little notebook, being super friendly and helpful so she'd never suspect. Then I made friends with the classroom aide, Janet, who was fed up with doing all the work while Mrs. Walker got the credit. Janet told me this wasn't the first kid Mrs. Walker had targeted for weird personal reasons. Apparently last year she'd made a boy miss every recess because his mom had dated her ex-husband. I convinced Janet to start writing down everything too, just for her own records of course. The real opportunity came when I discovered Mrs. Walker had been using school resources for her oil business. She was printing hundreds of flyers on the school printer, using school computers to manage her downline, and even storing inventory in a classroom cupboard. She'd also been having her pyramid scheme meetings in her classroom after hours without permission. I started taking photos whenever she wasn't looking. Not on my phone obviously, but with an old digital camera I'd bring for capturing classroom memories. Then came parent-teacher conferences. Mrs. Walker told me Rose was doing well but still needed to learn humility and respect for authority. While she was lecturing me about my daughter's supposed attitude problem, I noticed she had a whole presentation about her oils business minimized on her computer. The nail in the coffin was the field trip to the science museum. Mrs. Walker assigned Rose to stay on the bus with the driver to guard everyone's lunches while the rest of the class went inside. That was it. I didn't make a scene, just smiled and volunteered to stay with Rose so the driver could take a break. While sitting on that empty bus with my crying daughter, I compiled everything I had into a clear report. The personal business during school hours, the educational neglect, the targeting of specific children, Janet supporting observations, everything. But I didn't take it to the principal. I sent it directly to the district superintendent with a cover letter about my concerns for all the children's education and the misuse of taxpayer resources. I also mentioned how uncomfortable other parents were about the pyramid scheme recruitment but were afraid to speak up. The district launched an investigation immediately. Turns out using school property for personal business was a fireable offense, and the hours of educational videos instead of teaching was considered negligence. Janet confirmed everything when questioned and added more examples of Mrs. Walker's behavior. Other parents came forward about the oil sales pressure and their concerns about the favoritism. Mrs. Walker was suspended within a week and terminated by month's end.